Hello, Nigel here. How are you doing? I hope you're well. You know, I look forward to the day when we can start our youth groups again. In YPI, one of our youth groups for the 4 to 7 year olds, we sometimes play a game called Mr. Bear. It involves the children sitting in a big circle with one person sitting in the middle. A leader would place something, usually a set of keys, behind that person's back so they can't see them. Then the person in the middle closes their eyes while someone is silently picked to quietly move into the middle, steal the keys away, and sit back in the circle with the keys hidden behind their back. The person in the middle would then have to guess who stole the keys. A fun game. But what if it wasn't played as a game? Well, over the last few weeks we've been looking at the 10 commandments, and this week it's number 8. Reading from the book of Exodus chapter 20 and verse 15, it says, "You shall not steal." It seems that God is very clear from the very beginning that it is not good to steal. Many of you will know of a man in the Bible called Joshua. He's probably most famous for his unique Battle of Jericho, where after marching around the city for 6 days, came the 7th day when they marched around it 7 times, and miraculously, you know what happened? The walls fell down. And often God would allow the people to take things that were left, almost like a prize for winning the battle. But this time God told his people not to take anything for themselves, no matter how expensive or attractive it might be, because everything belonged to him. God had claimed all these possessions for himself as special. Now there was a town very close to them called Ai, spelt A-I. Funny that, isn't it? Now Joshua sent spies to check out the land. And when the spies returned, they said to Joshua, "We don't all need to go and fight. There are only a few men." Well, Joshua, he seemed happy with that, and he didn't consult God as to whether he should take this battle on. The people thought this would be a breeze. But when they went up against the people of Ai, can you guess what happened? Yep. Disaster. God's people had to run away, and some were even killed. So why did everything go so wrong this time? Well, our poor, distraught Joshua just couldn't understand what had happened. But then God spoke to him and said, "My people have sinned. They have stolen something from Jericho." Do you remember what God had said? Everything in Jericho belonged to him, and they must not take a single thing. It seemed that many people had suffered at the disobedience of, as we're about to see, just one man. When we do wrong, it often makes problems for other people as well as for us. So we need to think very carefully before we give in to the temptation to steal anything. Now, a huge detective operation was put in place by Joshua as he fished through the tribes and the families within them to individuals of each family. Finally, God moved one man to come forward and admit his guilt. His name was Achan. "What have you done?" asked Joshua. "I have done wrong," said Achan. "I saw some gold and silver and beautiful clothes, and I took them. They're hidden in my tent." And it was just as he said when some men went into his tent to check it out. You see, Achan thought he could hide what he'd done. Well, he'd managed to hide it from the people, but realised that he couldn't hide it from God. God wasn't going to make this easy. God was not going to let him get away with it, and he had to face punishment for it. You know, when we consider doing anything wrong, whether it be stealing or planning revenge on someone or just something else that we know is clearly wrong, God always knows about it, even if no one else around us does. God is clearly telling us that he really does not like people taking things from other people that do not belong to them. And the consequences of being found out may not affect you alone, as we've seen in this story, but many others as well. It's important that we learn to be happy with what we have and to enjoy all the things that God has given us. Let us learn to appreciate all the good gifts that we have received from God, from our daily needs like food and a house to live in, to the bonus things like a nice car, a computer or phone. Just look around you and you'll soon notice that you have much to thank God for. And pray that you would not give in to the temptation to take something that's not yours. For when you do that, pray, God will be pleased and give you the strength to resist. Great, thanks for listening. Well, we're going to sing a song. Now, this song normally has 2 parts. Now, you can decide to sing the first or the second. But I'm going to sing the first line, and you can sing the second line of those particular bits if you like. And it's called God is a Holy God. God is a holy God.
God is a holy God.
We can't be friends because of our sin.
We can't be friends because of our sin.
God is a holy God.
God is a holy God.
We can't be friends because of our sin.
We can't be friends because of our sin.
Jesus died to wash us clean. When we put our trust in him, God opens his arms and welcomes us in.
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 God is a holy God.
God is a holy God.
We can't be friends because of our sin.
We can't be friends because of our sin.
God is a holy God.
God is a holy God.
We can't be friends because of our sin.
We can't be friends because of our sin.
Jesus died to wash us clean.